Hello, my name is Alexey Bakshaev. My role is a team lead of a team with 6 Salesforce engineers. I'm working at Deutsche Bank Russia Technology Center. Yeah, I started in 2018. There was a project, integration project, to bring internal in-house data into Salesforce Cloud, and I was working in the integration team. Then I was looking how I could help the project to deliver faster, more efficient, and switch to Salesforce engineer role. And now I'm leading a team with 6 Salesforce engineers, I mentioned. So as for goals, so first of all, it was about the project delivery. And the obvious solution for me was to understand what Salesforce is, get into the details of Salesforce, how it is organized inside, how we can deliver solutions on Salesforce platform. So I started to learn these things and converted into Salesforce engineer to help with the project. As for motivation, it was pretty easy. You have to have a goal. And with our project, it was easy, and people around were very helpful. So motivation was for free, I would say. Yes, I have currently 2 certificates. The first one is Salesforce admin. The second is Sales Cloud consultant. As for my personal career, there is no immediate impact on my career, but it's a long-term investment. So I learned new things. I think learning is always a positive impact. So it doesn't matter what you learn, Salesforce certification or Java or Node.js. Learning is a good thing. So you first of all practice the learning skill. While learning, you need a skill to learn new things. And while learning new things, you practicing this skill. And in the real world, I think it is very important to have the skills. World is changing so fast, and if you can learn something very fast and apply it in real life, it is good for you. It is good for company, for world. The main difficult for the second certification was regarding my day-to-day work. It was not related to Sales Cloud Consultant at all. That's why it was very challenging for me to understand some new aspects of the certification of Salesforce platform. As compared to admin certification, admin was much more easier because it correlated to my day-to-day activities. I did some configuration of Salesforce, so it was much more easier. As for me, it's about 20% as a team lead and 80% as an engineer. We are working in Scrum. We have a sprint backlog. Items are prioritized. So items are ready for sprint because we took them into sprint. So we check how we can most efficiently apply Salesforce platform to meet these requirements. So we create stories. Stories are prioritized in the sprint. So you really start with end-to-end automated test against Salesforce platform. Of course, test fails. So next step during the day is to implement this requirement on Salesforce platform. You are doing it through test-driven development. You write tests either on Apex or on JavaScript for Lightning Web Component, and then you deploy this into your sandbox. And once deployed, you run the automated end-to-end scenario. If it is green, it has passed. It means that implementation meets requirements. Done. Next item. I used it for the second certification, Sales Cloud Consultant. So the situation was very tricky. I knew that Sales Cloud Consultant was much more harder as compared to admin. I talked to my colleagues who used what, and they recommended me Focus on Force. I really like Focus on Force. You helped me a lot, and I think you help a lot of people. What I liked in Focus on Force is that it highlighted me the gaps. So I could quickly focus on the gaps, practice gaps. So I did know a lot about Sales Cloud Console, but for the exam, I was not ready. And Focus on Force helped me to identify the gaps I was not ready with. And explanation Focus on Force gives helps me understand what I need to do, what is the missing bit. If you want to achieve a success, it is essential. You need to communicate with people. If you do not communicate, then you might have different understanding, misunderstanding, wrong understanding, and it doesn't help to meet the objective, to achieve the goal. We are a single team. We have a goal to achieve. So communication is key for anything, I would say. First of all, as I said in the beginning, you have to understand why you're doing it. You have to have a goal. If you just do it for a check in your CV, I don't think it is going to work. You have to understand why you're doing it. So once you have this understanding, just write it down physically on a paper or in notebook, in Word, Google Docs, whatever, but physically write it down. Once you have your goal, document it, just think how this particular certification preparation or passing the exam could help you with your goal. And ideally, validate these statements with some people who have successfully passed the exam. Passing the exam is the right thing to do. And to ensure you successfully pass the exam, I do recommend to do some practice and focus on first practice test. I think is the best. Focus on your gaps. Once done, you'll successfully pass the exam.